Ohio gozaimasu.
Ohayou
I know it's not the morning, but I don't know how to say goodnight.
It's konbanwa. Konbanwa.
Gozaimasu?
No gozaimasu, just konbanwa.
Konbawa.
Yeah, it's like a welcoming good night. Like there's no American or no English version of that, right? Is there like a
It's a good evening.
there's a good morning.
Yeah.
Good evening. Good evening, yeah, that's true.
Although I feel like you can't say good evening when it's like 11 o'clock at night, right? I feel like that's I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
Well, that just sounds like a pimp if you're like saying good evening.
This also reminds me of like a vampire. Good evening.
Good evening. Christopher Lambert. Good evening.
Yeah. Oh, good evening. I am.
Good
no one
evening.
knows what I am.
What am I? I do not know. Is there what?
Bro.
French, Swedish, yeah. How's it going?
Yeah,
man?
good man, good. We were just talking before we started recording. Like, there's a lot of good TV out right now, and which one do you want to start with?
Well, I
Which
mean, I'm
show?
looking especially pretty shogun-y right now. I haven't
You are,
shaved
dude.
since like paternity leave, so I'm growing this all out. Look at this shit, dude.
The little peach fuzz there, is that?
Yeah, it's peach fuzz. It's a little peach fuzz. It's horrendous. It's bristly. It's like my whiskers. The longer it gets, I feel like the better I am at like different kinds of martial arts. Like it's like an antenna, right? Like the radio waves of like kung fu. It's out there, It's whether you're picking up on it or not.
I see.
And it's just like these long Asian whiskers are absorbing it. Those kung fu radio waves.
Long Asian.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. Shogun is one of the best TV shows I've seen in a very long time. The acting is superb. The writing is superb. It's an excellent show.
Yeah, no, the acting is they got like legit Japanese actors for it. Like they're pretty famous. No, apparently it's a not a rerun, but
It's a remake.
It's a remake.
Reimagination, right? Kind of a little bit.
yeah, and like Toshiro Mifune is like I think the main guy. He's like the guy. Have you seen Yojimbo?
I know the movie. Yes, my grandfather made me watch that when I was very young. Yeah.
Yeah, so the main actor for that guy is like plays the main actor, I think, for the old.
He plays Toranaga
Shogun.
in the original.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a huge series apparently back in the day.
How historically accurate is all this? Do you know? Like,
It's not. There's no actual Toranaga, right? So
Okay.
it's like loosely based on Tokunaga,
Okay.
which was a shogunesque person who like kind of dominated Japan at one point.
So is a shogun like an emperor, but like forced by military? Is that kind of what a shogun is? Like, I don't understand all. Yeah.
I think when like the shogunates, right, used to rule, it was kind of like this military imperialism. It was like an imperialistic society, and like forceful dominance is what dictated the land.
Okay. Yeah, man.
Have you played? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Have you played the Shogun Total Wars? Those are my favorite games, like the Total War series.
I don't even know these. Shogun Total War.
You don't know the Total
Is
War
it like
series?
Rome Total War?
Yeah. But there's a Shogun one. It's amazing.
Oh, damn, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That
I need
one's
to
really
get into
good.
these. I've never played these.
Well, for you, this single player casual gamer now, I think it's
Yeah, we were talking about before the podcast. He's like, "How's the internet?" And I was like, "Dude, it doesn't matter. I don't need to ping a server anymore. Like, I don't need to. I'm not playing WoW, right?
Did ping matter that much in WoW? I guess so, right?
If you're playing a competitive level, yeah. And if you're raiding, honestly, you really troll your group if you're like super laggy, during like fight mechanics and stuff like that.
I see.
So yeah, yeah.
There has to be a certain queue of like a team synergy of actions, right? That has to be queued up.
Yeah, like some of the fights we did, like towards like some of the raids we did. If we telltale sign like we were going to wipe was if we heard someone like if we heard that we're like okay we're going to wipe because everyone's got to be in the right place.
Jesus, dude.
Yeah, so it's like
nerdy. Everyone, just calm down. Everyone's gonna die one day.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's just kill him.
Yeah.
He's out of our group now.
I mean, I'm glad I experienced it, but yeah, I'm totally done with living that life. Like, that's just I was seppuku fucking
Yeah, just like
in game. Yeah, bro, that is fucking brutal, dude.
I think Japanese people are insane. Like, that was the norm, right?
That is so brutal, dude. The fact that dude like talked out of line in the first episode and he had to kill himself and his kid, I'm just like, bro, what the fuck is this?
And like the brutalness of it, right? Like, I haven't seen like, 4K, like 21st century rendition of like what a seppuku looks like. Right? You can see the fucking intestines just like fall out and everything. It's like...
So okay. So the point. What is the point of the second? Is just to end it, kind of like just like let's put him out of his misery. Is that the point of the second?
Yeah, it's putting him. Yeah, it's like to secure the death, right? Like
I see.
To kind of see it to its end.
Why can't the second just do that and then it's done, right? Like, why does he have to eviscerate himself?
Because you have to do that, dude. Like, you're gonna be a pussy about it. You're just gonna take the easy way out. Ask someone else to execute you. That's literally like forcing yourself to. I mean, it's like you're forcefully killing yourself, right?
Yeah.
Like you're. It's a display of death. It's a display of suicide. That's a fucking manly thing, man.
No, it's very badass. I'm not saying it's not. Like it takes a lot of fucking guts to do.
I don't think there's anything more badass than suicide.
What's boy, that's a very dangerous thing to say.
What's more badass than just killing yourself? Jesus Christ!
It's more badass than eviscerating yourself.
Jesus Christ!
Some other person to
Jesus Christ!
Chop your head off, huh?
And Jesus Christ!
Oh, Jesus! I mean, he kind of killed himself, sort of.
He knew he did
because he did kill himself. Because if he's God, then he did kill himself.
Yeah, he's totally aware of it. Like deterministic qualities of
Yeah, if God is all knowing and all powerful, that means that God set in motion the killing of himself.
Yeah. How fucking manly is that, God? Right,
bro? Like Jesus
being aware of it. Yeah.
Yeah, his second was God the Father, so his second was like
his second was his second was like the Roman guy going yeah, poking
Pontius Pilate,
yeah,
yeah,
poking his liver, right?
Oh yeah, and then drinking the water converted to wine. It comes
the wine.
That was a great episode.
Yeah, the wine that comes out of his underneath his rib cage. God damn.
Yeah, dude, this is like the best. So this is like I'd say it's the most complete show since Game of Thrones, in my opinion.
Yeah, and in a way, since it is kind of like a remake, you kind of, if you are aware of the original series, you probably already know what's going to happen anyway. But I don't know how they're going to prolong this, if they're going to.
They can't make it more than one season, right? It's got to be a one season thing. I'm assuming. Yeah.
I'm assuming it's just going to be the one and done. No, it's good. It's
Toranaga, dude, he does that one speech, man. Like, when he gets everyone riled up. I have no idea what he's saying, but it's just one of the most, like, badass speeches. Like, in the beginning, yeah. It's so
like, AAO is so old school that it's just kind of cringy for me.
What's old school?
So, like, throughout the series, he goes, AAO, right? Like,
oh, yeah, yeah.
That's so like old school Japanese for me that it's just kind of like this weird cringy area. Like it's like hooray. It's like saying hooray.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's very like. But what is that? What would have been accurate for them to say back then? Like, is that? Like,
I didn't know it was accurate. Like AAO sounds more like, for me, like modern imperialist Japan, like early 20th century stuff. But I'm guessing they had it back in the day as well.
Probably. I mean, a lot of the imperialist movements. Well, obviously Germany was an imperialist, but
for fucking 300 years they were saying AAO.
They look. What I'm saying is they look back into like history for certain inspirations. I mean, Hitler took the eagle from the Romans, right? The fucking eagle, like on the banners they would hold up. They had like the Roman banners they were like holding up,
And they had
and then he took like runes, like the SS
symbol.
Symbol is not S's; they're runes. They're like German runes.
That's nuts, dude. Like
it's very
the Superman looking thing, right?
Yeah.
So
like I think that's very common for like powers that go back in time and like look at the glory days and
reach for symbolism.
Right? Yeah,
because it has its own power almost.
So I was telling this to my girlfriend tonight. We were watching the most recent episode I don't know if you saw that one yet, but where Mariko is, well, she tries to escape the castle. I don't know if you've seen that one yet. That's the newest one. It came out today.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's amazing to me how similar Europe and feudal Japan, like feudal Europe and feudal Japan, evolved. Like, it's very similar, dude. Like, the power structures are similar. Like, the technology similar. Like, castles, like lords, like samurai or knights. Like, it's so interesting how similar they are.
Do you think that was inevitable? Do you think the structure for feudal Japan and feudal, like, Europe
yeah.
is that an inevitability of, if you have this hilly area? Because I'm assuming like the topology of Europe is similar to Japan, very hilly, spacious in certain areas, and because castles matter in Europe more than fucking Africa or something, right?
True. Yeah, I think the climate's similar. That's another huge thing, right?
Right.
But why don't we see castles? I guess we do. I'm not a historian. Why don't we see castles in China?
But we saw kings and queens everywhere around the world.
Kings and queens, yes, but a knight class, like, I think that's a very specific thing. Like, samurai and knights are very similar.
It's true. I don't know. I feel like there are warrior classes throughout different societies, but heralded to that level, I don't know.
Yeah,
right.
There's, and then a historian's going to say there's obvious huge differences too, right? Like.
Yeah, but it's more similar than, unsimilar.
I agree.
It's kind of, it has a similar feel, right? It's like you're just changing the skin.
I think if you have a fitness landscape, you can kind of imagine that for a place of that latitude and climate, and like you said, I think geography, I think maybe the fitness landscape, the fitness peak is very similar for both those places, for both Europe and Japan, maybe,
I think if it's hilly and has lots of rivers, you're going to unnecessarily have castles. Because I think if you have hills, to put a fucking fence on a hill, or like a wall on a hill, that's amazing power, right?
It is, yeah.
Right.
That's
versus
true.
like just having it on flat land or something.
It's just like, I don't know, man. It's just like even how Japan was like split up into certain like kingdoms, and not kingdoms, I forget what they call them, but it's very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, prefectures and whatnot too. Like,
yeah.
It's just kind of like, it makes you think like the inevitability of like human, influence, and how it empirically becomes, right? If you have enough people in this environment, what happens? Like, if you run the simulation, it's going to come up with some similar system of like, there's going to be a hierarchy, right? It's always going to happen. And then you're going to have royalty, whatever that means, of some fashion, right? Because it's just necessary almost. When you have a pyramid of any kind.
No, it's true.
It's inevitable. I think humans are quite simple in that way. Like, you just have to hit the play button, run it for a few centuries, and oh shit! Like, like the South Park episode where they're growing things in the tank, or Carmen had what is it?
Simpsons did it, that one. The semen,
that
right?
one too. Yeah, the semen.
Yeah.
I forgot what kind of semen he had, but
yeah, they were like some kind of like, I forget. Yeah, but I remember. Yeah,
it's just civilization just inevitably pops up. Right. Yeah. I think it's the same thing. It just is boring mixture of like, of course it's going to happen. This little burgeoning thing that happens. And if society is going to take shape at all, it's going to take a certain kind of shape.
Yeah. And I loved in the first episode how the, Anjin, what the fuck is his name? Blackthorn. His is really
Blackthorn
accent. But, how, the Europeans are calling the Japanese savages, and in the same sentence, the Japanese are calling the European savages. And I love that, dude. Because it's such a great writing,
It's, if you put yourself in the perspective of each person's kingdom, they look down on the other, right? Not knowing that they're, in their own way, taking advantage of the situation. But in this case, clearly, Japan was being like, they're playing part of a larger game, that they're cog in they're a smaller piece in a larger game, because they don't have the kind of global commerce that Europe had.
Yeah, was that because Japan was kind of isolationist, right, for most of its history?
I want to say before that, though, I think in general Europe was way ahead when it comes to maritime things, right?
True. I mean, yes, I think they had better boats for sure.
They just,
true. Yeah,
I'm
there's-
assuming, I'm not quite sure about the history. Like the European nations effectively discussed amongst themselves, okay, I'm taking care of this part of the world and you guys take care of that part.
Yeah.
Right. It's like,
I think there was more competition in Europe too, right? Like there's a lot of competition pushing each nation's military, naval. There was a lot of competition driving. It's like we were talking about sushi restaurants last week, right? Like West Hollywood has great sushi restaurants because there's no room for a bad sushi restaurant. They just keep evolutionary arms race, right?
right.
European countries were like that to each other. And I feel like Japan really didn't have a rival to like push it,
To push
Maybe
them,
China.
yeah.
But yeah.
Well, they were taking over like Korea and like China, right? They were
Yeah.
invading on land, but I don't think they had. Yeah, when you have enough competing countries on the same game, right? The game in Europe was, okay, let's split up the world on trade, right?
Yeah.
Versus like, yeah, let's take over more land, which is, I would argue, not very. It's not. It doesn't lead to higher growth quicker.
Yeah.
Right. If you just,
That's true.
if you're going straight into commerce, right, just trading things, you're going to elevate everyone much faster than invading and then rebuilding. And
Yeah. No, it's true. That it was like an empire building via commerce. And it was like, to think it was basically four nations building on top of each other. It was the Dutch, the English, the Portuguese, and the Spanish mostly. And they were just like one-upping each other every moment they could, right? And that's why I think Europe did so well with boats, with maritime stuff and technology and guns and stuff like that,
well, the most interesting part is like the church, right? How much fucking power the church had. Because if you can influence foreign policy just by them, because you can whisper into their ears, right? The ability to whisper into a person's ears is much more powerful than anything.
It kind of amazes me how Christianity gained a foothold in Japan. Like,
it's Portuguese for sure. Like even in
yeah.
It's called Zabieru. I don't know what that would be in Javier. I don't know. He's like the guy who promoted Christianity. There's like a picture of him, like a red heart and everything. He's a famous figure in Japanese history.
Is he a Portuguese guy or a Japanese?
Yeah.
Or a Japanese guy. Oh, okay.
Spread Christianity, like this kind of almost like he represent like the advent of like foreign influence in Japan.
I see.
Yeah, it became a huge thing because I think Japan got quite uncomfortable with how quickly Christianity got out of hand, as in the amount of influence it was having on the people and on their own internal policy. Like politicians were increasingly more Christian.
Well, why do you think that is, Nick?
Well, I mean, I don't think Christian Judeo policies are, necessarily that great. I think every a nation has its own policies that could work for itself. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, no, I feel like Jordan Peters would be very.
No, I know.
happy
I'm
to
just
talk
saying,
about that topic. Yeah.
I think he would argue that Judeo-Christian societies are better fitted for
Right.
societies or whatever. Right.
Yeah, I think people like to hear new shit. I think that's the explanation. To be honest,
I think you're right. They just get bored.
Christianity hadn't entered the neural network of Japanese people, and they were like, "Oh, this is completely different from Buddhism," right?
Yeah. Also, like Buddhism, in a way, kind of sucks because
yeah, it's in
it
your
doesn't
face.
sell. It doesn't sell very well, and like the when you have a Bible, and I think I wrote this in the notes, the Bible is the word of God. You know what I'm saying? You know how fucking powerful that is as a concept?
You did write this. Yeah, Eastern philosophies aren't words of God. Yeah.
They're from like not prophets, but like just from like people talking about a way of life. They're not voices of God. It's not this sacred text in the sake that a fucking metaphysical power had some kind of influence making this, right? Whereas Eastern philosophy is much more like a how-to, like a tutorial on how to get out of this bullshit, which is life.
Yeah, and it's also like, life does suck. No fucking shit. Sorry. Like,
yeah, this is how you do it.
That's basically where it ends.
Yeah, it's like how-to influencers versus like an actual fucking God telling you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that has a lot of weight. But it's just interesting to me how people are like, oh, okay, like, There's no proof that this God exists. Just you saying this. Okay,
that's even better.
I'll buy it.
That's even better.
That's
then you
better?
can't deny it.
Oh, I guess.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, you can fucking deny a person. Like, oh, okay. What, Nirvana? Like, what the fuck is that? Okay, I have to actually believe in this system for me to think. You know, you have to, there's so many things to sell in Eastern philosophies, I feel like. You have to think in a certain metaphysical structure, and then you have to believe that this person has, this influencer can tell you this is how to get yourself out of it. Right?
That's
versus
true.
like, yeah, versus like, hey, fucking, this is God. This is the word of God. These are the commandments. Listen to him. Don't even doubt it, right? There's less to...
Yeah.
There's more axioms that you have to take the leap of faith in Christianity, but they're axioms that make a certain life easier to live versus an Eastern philosophy, which is too fluid, I feel like. Doesn't have these it has fewer
there's also
axioms.
no consequences. And there's no consequences in Buddhism outside of you'll come back as a fucking human or maybe a dog. I feel like that's a much worse consequence than you'll be in hell forever and be tortured and tormented until the end of time. I think it's a much worse.
I think it's that's what sucks about it. It doesn't sell, right? Like, I would want to tell me how to fucking live, right? Tell me what to believe in. Don't make me go through the journey of like meditation and whatnot, because the journey of the meditation is what changes you inevitably to get you in a place where life is much more manageable and comfortable. Like, you kind of get life a little bit better.
Yeah.
But that's the journey of it. Whereas Christianity, here's the fucking drug. Here's the Ritalin. Here's the fucking, here's a prescription for it.
Yeah.
Fucking the doctor, right? Believe the doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just laughed because I read the last note you wrote, and it just made me laugh.
What did I write?
Well, we're on the topic of Japanese, we might as well.
Oh, might as well. So yesterday,
yeah,
I finished my 2-day ordeal on making my first tonkotsu ramen.
Oh shit, you did the whole. Damn, bro.
Got some pork trotters, some fucking pig feet. Got some pig
Holy
back.
shit.
Yeah, fucking boiled that shit down to a paste. And I'll tell you, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it?
So I still have the broth, and that broth that you make is amazing, by the way. Like that ramen based broth. The trick, and I don't think people know this enough. The trick isn't making the broth itself. I think a lot of people can build that relatively easily. It just takes a lot of time. Like, it took me 5 hours the first day, and then like 7 hours the next day. Like, just constant like mixing and refilling with water and like and extracting. It's the I forgot what it's called in Japan. It's the tare that you mix in with it. So you make the tare, which is like the base of like the salt and everything. Because you taste the broth, it just is creamy, savory, all that shit, like stuff. But it's not salty at all. It has no other flavor than
I see
that deep umami, right? And so it's the tare, and my tare sucks. It's just this basic, soy sauce with mirin and other like kombu and like a fish based, and like it doesn't work. So don't if you don't know how to make a good tare, it's not worth making the broth. So if you go to these tonkotsu ramen places that all over LA, they nailed that shit down, like the tare, how they split the broth with the flavor, like the
damn dude,
the salt flavor.
So did you get the char siu and everything? Like, you got all the...
Yeah, I sous vide it, and I got a blowtorch. I blowtorched it. The char siu turned out great. I got the eggs. I made my own fucking noodles as well.
Wow.
So I am a refined Jap, as it says in the... It's a refined...
It's such like a World War II vibe when you say that. It's just like, anyway. But
yes, I'm a refined Jap. I'm not a savage. I'm a refined.
Dude, that's incredible. That's a great...
No, it was...
awesome.
It was it's something that you can do if you have enough time.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's just not worth it, I feel like. Unless you have... I would play around more with the tare to nail that shit down, like different permutations of it before doing the tonkotsu broth, because that's what hits the most.
Okay, damn.
Yeah. It's so coming from one refined Jap to one refined WAP,
Yeah,
How's-
I'm
how's your
not a
cooking
refined
been?
wop though because I haven't made my own pasta. That's a big step.
Yeah, I had it's called an Atlas. I had it's what is it, Macar? Some famous made in Italy.
Oh, you used a pasta
maker.
maker.
Yeah,
Yeah, pasta flattener thing. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, made from a 1 to a 2 to a 3.
My
and
girlfriend's
then-
parents use those to make dumplings. Actually, they used to make dumplings using the Italian pasta maker, the flatten the dough.
Oh shit! Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's great. You don't even have to
Yeah.
clean it. You just have to like slap it around.
Yeah, damn. So you used wheat, and then you only have to cook those noodles very quickly, right? They're very like
3 minutes. A lot.
yeah.
Yeah. Lots of.
Why is
bread
pasta so
flour.
much longer? Because you don't dry it as long. Is that why?
Is it though? If you make it from scratch, I think
fresh pasta is
yeah.
really fast. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's true.
Fuck that too, because the flour ramen, by the way, sucks.
What is it usually made with? Rice noodles?
It has some egg in it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, mine
Okay.
was pure flour, man. A little bit of bread flour, a lot of all-purpose.
Well, don't you think this is something you can kind of refine? Like you do some GP on it and get
No,
into a better
absolutely.
position?
Yeah. No, but so there's so many search spaces, right? The search space
Yeah.
of the noodle is huge because the one I did, wheat flour or just a flour based, sucks because it's too mush. It doesn't yield. It's a thing called koshi in Japanese. There's a thing where it kind of it yields it better. And I think if you have egg based, it yields a bit better. And it's also that classic yellow looking noodle. Whereas mine was this kind of pale ass bullshit that just kind of absorbed the color of the soup. It didn't have that kind of beautiful, golden look. Yeah.
Some pale ass fucking English people noodles, fucking like pale
Fucking
rain in Scotland.
Translucent forehead, motherfucker. Translucent people. Why is it so translucent? Like you can see their veins, like a ghoul, like in Fallout. You could just
I
see.
feel like that's.
You could see. You could see their veins pulse because they're so
Is that just a
translucent.
white person? I guess it is just a white person thing, right? I think melanin masks that. I think,
But there's
I
like
guess. I don't know.
translucent people though.
But they're white only, right? I feel like.
Yeah,
Are there translucent Asians? I don't think there are.
No,
I think there is. I think
There
there's some
is,
very
but-
white Asians.
no, but the
What
whitest
do
of
I know?
the whitest of whites. there is a certain
I've seen some Chinese people that are pretty white, dude. Like very white.
that they look blue,
No, not that white. I
right?
guess.
Like you could see the
Yeah.
veins in their head.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, I'm like, damn, dude. I could look at you and take a pulse.